Welcome back. 2011 Toyota Tacoma. Looked at this a couple days ago real quick. Owner stopped by. It's got a couple of transmission codes. I'll show them to you in a minute here, but it's not shifting into high gear. Took a quick look, visual inspection. Believe I see what the problem is. I'm going to show you that, and we're going to go through and fix that, and hopefully we do not have a transmission problem other than the fact that there's a leak and the fluid's low, and I believe that's what's causing this issue. So let's go take a look at it. There's your codes. Current history: pressure control solenoid B stuck in off, and solenoid D stuck in off. I believe that's because the fluid's low. But P0776 and P2714. All right, so there's the pan, the kind of shield from underneath the front of the truck, and you can kind of see here it's got fluid all over it. It's leaking. I'm going to show you. I'll take you under the truck here and show you what we got going on. So I try to make this so come moving all over the place. Hopefully, you can see that line right there, that bottom line, leaking pretty good. I pulled the hose off where it was leaking, and the actual leak is in this line. It's right there. It's hard to see it right now, but it was dripping. We're kind of running out of there before. I think we're going to be all right, though. I'm going to replace this hose because it's probably all rusty inside. And I'm going to run a line a little bit longer, and I'm going to run it down here and clamp it. And then we'll just check it, but I believe we can just leave that and run the hose down further rather than having to replace this whole, I don't know what this is part of. It's a molded line, a metal line, and I don't really want to replace that if I don't have to. I don't think it's necessary. I think we have enough that we'll just go down past where that problem was. It was right where the hose ended, and I'm sure it was just trapping salt and crud from the road, and it just rotted through that a little bit, just like a pinhole. I've replaced that flexible piece, and I've run it down here. The pinhole was up in here, so I have a good inch and a half past, and I changed this to a worm clamp just because I like worm clamps better for this kind of stuff. I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. I just think it seals better. So that should solve this issue. We'll check it, and I got to get under here and clean. I'm probably going to get in here with a pressure washer and clean this mess up. But we're going to go drain the transmission now. So this there's the automatic transmission. I know you're rating the lights right in there. Automatic transmission temperature 73 degrees. You want to drain this when it's cold, so you can put back in exactly what you took out. In this case, I'm going to put some more in because I know this is low because it's been leaking. All right, there's a drain plug, 14 millimeter, and this is for when you refill. There's a stand pipe in here that sets the fluid level. It's a 5 millimeter hex. Make sure it's in there good. I'm just going to pull the drain plug, and we're going to drain this right now. So I expect about 3 quarts. Should be about 3 quarts to come out of this. I don't expect that because I know this is low. So I'm expecting it to be probably a little less than that. Well, we'll see. We'll see what we get. Loose. There it goes. Don't look too bad for 150,000 miles. And we're going to measure that. I'm going to put it into a container and measure it after. So I'm just going to let that drain, and we're just going to leave it here for a little bit until it drains everything out it can drain, and then we'll refill it. So on the passenger side, looking up towards the back of the transmission, right up here, that's your fill plug. It says WS on it. I'll show it to you when I get it out, but stamped in the middle of it is WS. You want to make sure that you don't pull the transfer case plug. This is the fill plug for the transmission. I'm going to get this out of here. It looks maybe like a, I don't know, 19 millimeter or bigger. Not quite sure. Figure out what that is, and that's where we got to refill. Well, there's the fill plug. Hopefully you can see on there in the center, It says WS. Make sure it says WS because there's a fill plug for the transfer case. You don't want to pull that one by mistake. It says towards the back of the transmission on the passenger side. It's got an O-ring on it, which is fine. No big deal. Need a short socket, you know, a regular socket, 24 millimeter to get it out. So I drained it out, put it into a container which has, you know, graduated markings. It's 1 3/4 quarts. I would have expected this to be 2 3/4 to 3, something in there. So I'm guessing this is probably a quart low, and that's why it's having a problem shifting. All right, you're going to need some kind of hose to pump this stuff in. So I've got a little pump here. I'm going to put 3 quarts back in. That should be about right, and because I'm not really worried about the level so much, but I know that generally speaking you're going to get about 3 quarts or so out of this, and it might be a little full, but we're not running this yet, so I'm not even going to try to show you. I'm going to put that hose up into the drain plug hole or the fill plug hole that we just took out, and put 3 quarts back in it, put the plug back in it, and then we'll go from there. 3 quarts back in. I'm just going to run this. We're not going to run it long. Put it in each gear for about 3 seconds. Just want to pump the fluid through the transmission and through the system. Back in the park, shut it off. Now we're going to do the whole thing again. I'm going to drain it, measure what comes out, refill it, and then we'll drive it and bring it up to temperature where it needs to be, and then we'll pull. I'll show you pulling the other standpipe plug and setting the level. So I'm going to put this drain plug in after I drain it the second time, and there is a new crush washer on there. Hopefully you can see that. Replace the crush washer so it doesn't leak on you. I think the torque spec on this is, I don't know, somewhere in the 20s. It's not. Don't crush it. Don't, you know, it's a pretty small bolt. I think it's 20. I think in mid 20s. I have to go look it up, but it's not a ton. Snug it up. Let that washer crush down a little bit, and it'll seal it up for you. Did another drain. You're going to get, after you run it through the gears, after you do it the first time, when you drain, you're going to get less because there's more throughout the system. If the truck was sitting, first time you did it, it was sitting for a while, a lot more that's going to drain back to the pan, and you're going to get more out of it. So I did get less out of it. I got about a quart to a quart and a half, probably because it was still a little low, but you will get less out of there as it's back up throughout the system. Put 3 more quarts in it, which should be enough, I hope. We'll see. We go to set the level on it. Well, I'm going to run this and watch my scanner. You want to change this. I'll show you. You're going to pull the plug on the standpipe when it's between 96 and 115 or 116 degrees. You want to be in that range when you do this, because this fluid does expand, and to set the level correctly, you got to be in that range. So my scanner can see the temperature of the transmission fluid. So I'm using that. We'll just let this run, and I'll take the scanner down underneath the truck with me. You're gonna leave it running in park, and you're gonna pull that plug with it running in park. And you want this truck or your car to be level when you do this, to set your level correctly. So I've got the back a little bit jacked up because my garage slopes a little bit. Let's just go do that and get this done. Now we're at 99, almost 100 degrees. That's in range. On the low side, but in range, so I'm gonna take this out. I'm gonna change I've got a new crush washer for it sitting here. Pull this out. Change the crush washer here. I'm gonna go a little more here. Good right there. Plug back in. Okay, that's it. We're done. Well, that's it for the 2011 Toyota Tacoma solenoid codes. I cleared the codes, took it for a ride, shifted fine, no problems, no symptoms anymore. So, low fluid. I'm guessing, it's a guess, but I'm guessing it was probably a quart low. Doesn't take a whole lot in the transmission usually to start causing problems, but everything's good. That was it. I mean, it's not a hard thing to do. I will try to remember to link in. If you do not have a scanner, my scanner can read this temperature on the transmission. There's a way to use the data link connector to actually get it so it'll show you when it's in temperature range to actually check the fluid level. I'll try to remember the best I can and link in a video from another mechanic who shows you how to do that. It's pretty interesting. I didn't need to do it obviously because my scanner does it, but I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't have a scanner, and it'll help you out, and it'll tell you when you can, when you're in temperature range to do your fluid level check and pull that 5mm Allen head plug out and let it drain to a certain amount to get your fluid level correct. If you have to do this for your Toyota Tundra, I'm sure it applies to other Toyotas as well. I hope it helps you out. If you like the video, subscribe below. Thanks for watching.